What happened was...
Well, hello. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. You're my second live interview ever. But of course,
so cool.
You appeared on season 1 of What Happened Was as my very first guest.
I'm so honored. I didn't know you wanted me back. Like,
Well,
is there more stuff to
you're
talk
a hit,
about?
and the fans wanted more.
That's so great to
I
know.
received a lot of mail. Come here. And this guy's here with us today, too.
Yay!
Just a happy family. So I wanted to have you back, first of all, to do a live interview. Second of all, because we're now in season 3 of What Happened Was.
It's amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dallas Opera Network, for continuing to have my shenanigans on every week.
Yes, thank
And
you.
Thank you to our moms, who
Our
are
moms.
the only 2 people that watch.
They're the
Just
number
kidding.
1 fans.
They are.
Yeah.
So our moms, hello, moms.
Hi, moms.
They watch this show every week, and
Every week, yeah.
I know a lot more people watch it, and I'm so appreciative. But I also know that our 2 moms are factually perhaps the only 2 people that have watched every episode.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong, I apologize, and thank you for watching, everyone. It just means the world. And I got to say also, I never imagined having my own weekly show, and it's a ton of fun. And I just am so happy to be on the Dallas Opera Network. So I wanted to have you back because it's been almost a year
Yeah.
since you were on, and a lot has changed. You are
Yeah.
back in the saddle. You were, at the time, you were doing some work on TV. You were working with Netflix.
Yeah.
You were, wearing a face shield and a mask.
Yes.
We weren't vaccinated.
Yeah, it hadn't hit yet.
And now we are.
Yes.
So we can be in a room together.
Right. Very close, non-socially distanced.
I've been tested 3 times this week.
Yeah.
Because I worked this week on a film set. And our lives are in a lot of ways similar, in a lot of ways very different.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, knowing intimately your life, you're incredibly busy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's outrageous because we are entering the 3rd winter of a pandemic. But you've just worked on, was it your 3rd Broadway show, Dana H?
Yeah, I got to do some makeup consulting for Dana H with Dee Dee O'Connell.
A Broadway play.
Yeah, a Broadway play, an incredible Broadway play. I think it's only running till like November 27th, so go see it. It's incredible. You'll never see anything else like it.
And then you're doing Slave Play on Broadway,
Yeah.
your 4th Broadway show. But let's talk about this. You're working on 2 back-to-back Broadway shows during a pandemic.
Yeah, so apparently during the pandemic, a lot of hair, wig, and makeup people, got out of the business because we didn't have any work.
Right.
And so now I'm so busy. I'm like turning opportunities away, which I'm like sad about, but grateful for that I have the business in the first place.
Right. And not to mention, you also have had a full-time job working on Bloomberg News, doing hair and makeup for the entire staff of news anchors.
That is a really cool job. I've never done like TV news before, so that's my first time doing it, and it's like a different animal of the way we do. Like I normally do hair and makeup, like. Broadway, it's about quick changes, and yes, you have to be quick, but this is kind of like the Hunger Games of makeup because, like, if I'm, like, let's say doing the makeup on an anchor, somebody's, like, blowing out their hair.
Right.
So, like, they're like this. Well, I'm trying to, like, do eyeliner.
Right.
So it's like, end in, like, 15 minutes. So
Less on a commercial break,
or
right?
less,
You have touch-ups?
Yeah, you have to go touch up, and like the stage manager will be like, okay, 45 seconds,
Yes,
and you're like,
yes.
oh my god, need to fly in, like, so that's kind of fun and interesting, and it's like it's just a very different world because I normally deal with actors and performers and singers, and they are journalists, and so it's like kind of corporate and like. They're very good to us. They treat us very well. I do like working there a lot. But I am going to be on Slave Play now as the wig and makeup supervisor. So I'll only have 1 day off a week, and I'm going to need that to actually rest.
So
Yeah.
Bloomberg will take a pause.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
I'll,
Return.
if they need me back, like in January.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Fabulous. The other incredible gig you had recently was you were the makeup designer for Jersey Boys,
Yeah.
a new filmed production starring Nick Jonas.
Yes.
So tell us about that.
So about 2 weeks before this recording happened, I got a call asking if I would want to go to Cleveland to design the makeup and actually do it and be the makeup supervisor for the streaming recorded version of the Broadway show Jersey Boys, starring Nick Jonas, and almost everybody else in the cast has been in a version of Jersey Boys. So
Right.
like whether it be on Broadway or the tour or so everybody like knew the show. I didn't know the show. I had watched like the Clint Eastwood movie and everybody was like, "Oh, that was..." Well, the Broadway people didn't like it.
Got it.
Right. It was entertaining. It was,
Yeah.
So I at least like knew the storyline, and it actually was really beautiful because my father, who passed, he is from Petersen, New Jersey, and he used to call himself a Jersey boy.
Oh.
And so like I remember going on family vacations to Disney World, and we would listen to the Four Seasons the whole way. So like.
Oh.
So, I'm backstage and I'm like having this full circle moment, like, oh my God, like I like felt like I was meant to be there, you
Yeah,
know? And, yeah, it was really beautiful. So I was like, oh, Dad would love this.
Oh.
Yeah.
And when will it come out? Do you know?
I'm not sure. I don't even know what streaming service it's going to be on, but.
Well, it's
Yeah.
guaranteed to be major. Watch
Yeah.
out for it.
Yeah.
Jersey Boys, starring Nick Jonas.
Yeah.
It will surely be streamed worldwide. And
Yeah.
Dottie
It's
is
really
the makeup
good. Nick is
designer.
incredible. I mean, A+. It's just,
Wow,
yeah,
wow.
really good.
Okay, so you've now, during the pandemic, worked on several Broadway shows, done makeup for, a 24-hour news channel,
Yeah.
TV and film. You're returning to Broadway in another show soon. You regularly do makeup for photo shoots. How is it that we are doing this safely?
So I would say 98% of my gigs that I have, you have to be vaccinated.
That's everyone involved.
Everyone
Everyone in the building,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so, and we're also testing.
Yes.
And
How
we're
often
always,
are you testing?
So like at Bloomberg, we test once a week, like that Monday.
Okay.
Sometimes it's more frequent. I think it's based on the days you work. But like, basically, I just started testing, me and a few other Broadway people, just because different sets and shows require you to show that you have a negative COVID result, even though we are vaccinated.
Right.
So I just got in the habit of like testing Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and just like always being able to show negative COVID results.
Right. Because you get these calls sometimes the day of.
Right. And
Hey,
they're like, we
you."
need your test results, and like the PCR ones, not the rapid ones. Sometimes it takes like 2 to 3 days
Yeah.
to get the results.
Yeah.
So it can't be too far, out that you get tested, but you can't, you have to get the results. So.
Right. And I can
Yeah.
share, because, of course, I was just on an episode of Saturday Night Live.
Yes.
Yeah, so...
Living dreams, childhood dreams.
So 1 a.m. on Thursday, I got an email saying, hey, are you available for Saturday Night Live this weekend? So, of course, I said yes. And then the next day, I got another text like, hey, we need you to go test today.
Right, like in
And
5 minutes.
Yeah, a PCR test that day. I did that, and then the next day when I showed up for shooting, we did a rapid test and had to wait for the results before
Yeah.
we were allowed in the building.
Yes.
So, and this is common, that this is the way it's being done. And of course, I was just in Maine doing Young Frankenstein, and we were tested every 4 days.
Yeah.
For similar reasons, but
Yeah.
so it's that everyone is vaccinated and that there's regular testing that we can have these safe work environments.
Yes. Yeah. And I feel like, I feel like TV and film is a little bit more strict.
Yeah.
But also in the Broadway community, I feel like we're a little bit more in a bubble. And like
Yeah.
when you were in Maine, like you guys were all housed together.
Yeah.
You spent all your time together.
And we're, less likely to be in a super spreader situation.
Right.
Because we're all
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
Now, if one person got sick, we would all get it, perhaps.
Right. Yeah.
But we were fully vaccinated also.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
when you're fully vaccinated, if somebody does test positive, not everyone has to quarantine who was in contact with them if you were vaccinated. You
Right.
just have to test.
Right.
Which has made productions easier.
Yeah.
And it's not as stressful, to be like, oh my God, so and so tested positive, and because I was near them, I now have to quarantine for 2 weeks, and maybe miss this job, miss this opportunity,
Right.
miss the pay.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, have there been times where you felt that you weren't safe, and that you were in a risky situation, or your safety was jeopardized?
Never really. Because I am this close in somebody's face
Yeah.
and they're not wearing a mask, I just always at least wear a surgical or an N95. Like,
Yeah.
I stopped wearing cloth masks even though I didn't, want to be wasteful with the environment. But I was like, I have to wear something stronger if I'm
Right.
this close to you. So luckily the people I'm working on are vaccinated. But even with my private clients, like, I don't want to deal with you if you're not vaccinated, just because you're breathing in my face,
Right.
and so I don't have to wear goggles or face shields anymore. Some makeup artists still choose to. I don't, just because it fogs up a lot, and
Yeah.
it's
It's difficult.
it does. It makes my job much more difficult. And I feel like I am just safer now that I've been vaccinated. I had COVID like when it all started, so I feel like I have built up like a strong immunity.
Sure.
And I was around somebody who got it on one of these jobs, and I was terrified.
Yeah,
because
I
we
remember.
had hung out like on our day off,
Right.
and we were around each other having lunch unmasked. We were outside, but still.
But you didn't get it.
I didn't get it.
Right.
Yeah, and neither did the other makeup artist who was working very close by with us. And so, we didn't have to quarantine. We just got tested like every day after
Right.
that then. But so that was we were able to keep up with production.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the difference between film and TV, where you don't have an audience, and Broadway or any other, theatrical, operatic,
Yeah.
ballet, orchestral performance where you do have a live audience present. How are we negotiating those risks and challenges?
Yeah, so being in the audience for opening night for Dana H., and I've seen a few other Broadway shows since, when you're in line, you have to show them your vaccination card and your ID so that,
It matches.
right?
Yeah.
And you have to wear a mask the whole
Right.
time.
Right.
So, I haven't heard that there's been like a big outbreak or anything within audiences. So I feel relatively safe, going into a theater like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you received any notifications from the city of New York as far as contact tracing at any point that says
No.
you might be at risk?
Yeah, no, never.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, just when I pre-vaccination on that Netflix show, we had to wear contact tracers on us.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like a LoJack device.
Wow.
And if I was speaking to you for more than 10 minutes and
Yeah.
you had tested positive for COVID, I then had to quarantine for 14 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was like if we were on set and I was like talking to the camera guy because we had like a 5-minute break, it was like, oh my God, it's almost 9 minutes. I can't talk to you anymore. And
Yeah.
we'd like run away from each other,
Yeah. So for those that don't know, in New York, they have contact tracing set up using your cell phones and geolocating. So right now, we've been together within 6 feet of each other for more than 10 minutes. So
Right.
if one of us tested positive, you wouldn't be told where you got it, who you got it from, but
Yeah.
you would be told, hey, you've been in contact with someone who has tested positive. You were in contact with that person for more than 10 minutes and closer than 6 feet. You should take the following precautions. And those precautions are different whether you're vaccinated or not.
Yeah.
If you have been vaccinated, you don't need to quarantine, but you do need to test.
Yeah.
So it does bring a feeling of reassurance, I would say, and I would agree with you that on film and TV, it's a very strict environment as
Yeah.
far as the testing protocol. But I also feel the safest working in that
Yes.
environment
Yeah.
because of that. And I do think it has something to do with the money that's
I was just
involved
gonna
with
say,
film
the
and
budget,
TV.
yeah.
When you're working with HBO and there's jillions of
Right.
dollars.
Or like
it's-
a billionaire like Bloomberg, and there's an actual tent with like 6 nurses in there testing everybody all the time.
You have a
Yeah.
dedicated group there, basically
Right.
a mini hospital
Yes.
dedicated to just the people in that building, making
Right.
sure you're all safe to work together.
Yep.
And that's a very special thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's
So-
really fortunate.
How do you see us moving forward? Do you have hope that we're going to be able to share live experiences?
Oh yeah, for sure. I can't wait to get my booster. I just haven't gotten it yet because after my second shot, the next day I did get a little sick, and I actually had a photo shoot booked, and I had to call out.
Right.
The first time I've ever had to call out from work.
Yeah.
So that's why I haven't gotten it, because I've thankfully been so busy, but I'm just like, I need a down day. Just in case, you know. So, but I think definitely with the boosters too, it's going to be back to normal, you know, soon. We might still just have to wear masks, but, you know, and like being in New York City, like, you know, we're from Florida. And so our families are very like, wow, you're still like doing that. Like, I know my family is like, wow,
What?
like
Wearing
we're
masks?
just wearing masks and like, but you're vaccinated. And
My
like,
family hasn't left the house in a year and a half.
Wow. So yeah, but like in New York, like we live on top of each other. We're so close to each other. Like it makes sense that we are always masked and like, you know, trying to be safe.
Yeah. Well, and we have to wear masks on public transit here.
Yeah, you have to wear the mask on,
And
you know,
in restaurants
Subway
and grocery stores, you have to wear a mask at all times here. And it does give a feeling of safety and a feeling that we are part of a community that's watching out for each other.
Yeah.
And that's a very nice thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. What has been the highlight of this past year of returning to work?
Jersey Boys was pretty, like, once in a lifetime opportunity. Even though like the logistics was a little nuts and all over the place, and I was very stressed and like calling my mother at midnight, like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? You know, but like then I was like, oh no, this is like the most awesome thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
But also getting to be the wig and makeup supervisor on Slave Play, because I've never been the supervisor on a Broadway show. So that's my like my first time doing it. And
That's amazing.
I got to work with George Street Playhouse on a few of their streaming shows.
You created a film with them as well.
Yeah, we did It's Only a Play and Bad Dates with some awesome people, Andrea Burns, Julie Halston, like just incredible. Like part of my job that I love most is the people I work with. It's not just doing makeup, you know? And so to even call it a job or work, like I get money to do what I love. Like, oh my God, you know? So...
And what has been the most challenging experience you've had in the past year?
Let's see. I would say, just keeping on top of COVID stuff.
Protocols.
And protocols. And we were actually just talking about this before camera, that, you know, we are supposed to like wash and bathe our brushes. Like there's a sanitation spray that we normally used to do, and that was always sufficient and it would clean your brushes. But since COVID, you know, we don't know how far the bacteria can go and how long it can live on things and surfaces. So we'd have to fully bathe the brushes. But sometimes if I get home from like a really late like night on set and it's like midnight and I'm washing my brushes, and then I have to be to Bloomberg at 5 a.m., my brushes are not dry.
Wow.
So I've just like had to I just bought like two more sets of
brushes,
brushes because, you know, when I have like hundreds of brushes already, but just, you know, I go through so many of them, you know.
And these aren't your $3.99 brushes.
Some of them are. You can get like, there's a brand called Crown. They make amazing brushes for super cheap, but like, so like my favorite like fluffy brush is like $4, but my favorite foundation brush is $70. So there's a lot of, you know,
Right.
So, so that's just like, it's just like a challenge with that. And then like, I do take Ubers more now than trains, just
stay safe.
Yeah, just to stay safe. And you know, while it is mandated, every now and again, there's a bunch of people on the train without a mask, you know? And so, I just, especially if I'm working on a big show, I'm not really scared to get COVID anymore, because I don't think I will get it as bad. I don't want to like hold up production or miss a job. So that's why I started like taking Ubers and like testing all the time regardless, is because I don't want to like ruin it for myself and the production. You know, so I don't know. I think it's actually brought the best out in people as far as like caring about each other in our world.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. Well, can I ask you a special favor?
Anything.
So I've never done the theme song live. Do you want to sing it with me?
Sure.
Ready?
Yeah.
It's today, the time is now. You are here and the weather is outside your window. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me. Thanks, Artie.
Yeah. puppies and rainbows till we meet again.